Whether your muscle-ups look like this, 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 or this, there are 3 exercises that everybody at every level needs to be doing to make the best progress possible. As you can see, I'm pretty okay at the muscle-up, so I'm going to be sharing those 3 things with you, starting with the first one. Just really quickly before we get started, I would appreciate if you could join the Discord linked in description, because it has a bunch of free training resources for you, and it's something that's very helpful. We got about 30 guys in there talking about calisthenics. If that's something you're interested in, then please do join. Onto the video. The number 1 exercise you could be doing to improve your muscle up is the high pull-up. A lot of people get this wrong though. They do the technique completely incorrectly. You've probably seen guys who have taught you online, who you've spoken to or tried this yourself just because you heard the high pull-up was a good exercise. You jump up here, you'll do it just like a normal pull-up. So you'll pull up, you'll try and get your chin over, but you'll try and get your chin over as far as you can. This isn't how you do this because you're trying to translate it to the muscle up. The muscle up is very different from a pull-up. A muscle up is more like a throw down than it is a pull up. They apply to each other, but if you only practice one of the movements, then you're only going to be good at that one movement. You need to practice both of them, and the high pull-up is a very good way to practice that throw down technique. So what do? You're going to grab the bar, get a little bit of swing, which is cool. You're going to squeeze your core just a tiny bit, and you're going to focus on pulling away from the bar. So a lot of people, when they teach this is more of like a diagonal pull-up. You're not trying to pull up into the bar, you're trying to pull away from it. You want to pull in an arch. You want to pull in a curve with your arms. You're not arching your back at all because that's not how you do a muscle-up. You can have a tiny bit. This is okay just to engage the movement, but you don't want to be pulling like a pull-up to where you're all the way arched back and you're trying to get your chin over. Think, throw your hips to the bar. Most people aren't able to do that, but as you get better at it and as you get more advanced on it, the high pull-up turns from a diagonal pull-up where you're just pulling away from the bar until you pull away and then slightly over. And then at the highest level, you can pull your hips to the bar. Once you can get to the point to where you're somewhat consistently getting your nipples above the bar, then what you do is you start practicing the 3rd exercise I'm going to talk about, which is the muscle up attempts, and I'm going to be showing you how to go about that and how to program it. When you go to do this, you want to pull away from the bar because it's a throw down. You're trying to get over and throw behind you. You're trying to get your hips to the bar because that's ultimately the goal of trying to get a no dip muscle up. You don't want to get into this weird like pulling your nipples to the bar, then sternum to the bar, and then like right here to the bar people always talk about. That will help, but it's not exactly transferable to the muscle up. This first exercise, what I recommend doing on days where you train weighted pull-ups, which is what I'm going to talk about next and how to properly do those to translate to muscle up, I'd recommend doing anything from 3 to 4 sets of 1 to 3 reps. 3 reps only if it's easy for you and you have a decent weighted pull-up number, which is anywhere from 30 to 40% of your body weight for 8 reps on weighted pull-ups. If you're below that, or you're just doing body weight pull-ups, then stick between 1 and 2 reps, 3 to 4 sets, and then just focus on pulling as explosively and as aggressively as possible. A lot of people like doing like 5x5s or 3x5s. If you're not at a very decent explosive pulling level when it comes to your weighted pull-up, and when it comes to doing just body weight pull-ups in general, this is too much because those final 2 or 3 reps aren't going to be explosive anymore. You only want to train the most explosive reps you have, which is why you do such low reps and you up the sets to 3 to 4 to even 5 in some cases. If you aren't training weighted at all, or you aren't training pull on the same day, then what you would do is you would do anywhere from 5 to 6, even 7 sets of 1 or 2, and then you progress by adding a set or keeping the exact workout the same, just trying to make the reps more clean. You progress by making the reps cleaner, trying to pull higher. Then once they're clean enough and you're satisfied with how high you're pulling, then you can add a set. I would keep your set range from 4 to 8, something like that. And then once you get to 8 sets, then you can add a rep and go back down to 4. You're going to increase the volume. Once you hit the top end of your volume range, which is the amount of sets you're doing, then you're going to lower the sets, but add intensity by adding a rep. So a progression model for you could look like 4 sets of 1, then 5 sets of 1, then 6 sets of 1, Maybe you just end at 6 sets of 1. Again, it's a little bit customizable depending on who you are and what the rest of your structure looks like. Then what you do is when you get to 6 sets of 1, go back down to 4 sets and do 4 sets of 2. In this case, I would do only 3 sets to match the amount of total reps you're doing, but this is a very good progression model and you're going to be able to learn this and improve at this very quickly. Next exercise. You get your weight belt. You get your weight plate. What you do is, most people get this wrong. Most people put the weight up here. You want it in between your feet. That's just classic street lifting style weighted pull-ups. Going to connect it to your belt to where that's the best height for you. Then what are you going to do? A lot of people do weighted pull-ups wrong when they're trying to convert it to muscle ups. They'll grab super wide, and then what will they do? They'll try and pull like a pull-up. That's incorrect, because for a muscle up, especially if you're wanting to get to a high level, it's better to train it close, because it looks better when you do the explosive muscle ups and the no dip muscle ups like this. It allows you to pull for a longer period of time, because if you think of where your back is inserted, if you're grabbing out here, then the end range of motion for your back is like this. If you get more narrow, you can tuck your elbows in more, so you can get even higher up with the same pull. Getting closer is harder to get over originally when you're first starting out. Grab kind of medium grip, but as you get better and better, try and get it a little bit closer. I personally grab around here. When doing your weighted pull-ups, you're trying to mimic the movement you're trying to learn as best as possible. So what will you do? You're going to take where you normally grab, I'll normally grab right around here, and you're going to come just a little bit closer. That's all you're doing. You're trying to mimic the movement. Then when you come down, you're again going to try and mimic the movement. You're going to try and pull up, get as high as you can, pull as aggressively as you can. A lot of people do technique like this. They'll come here, they'll pull up, and then their control on the way down, and then up, and then control. That's not going to make you as explosive as you could be. What you want to do is have a fast tempo. You're going to come here, you're going to do the reps quickly because you're trying to become more explosive. That's the main thing. If you want to even be more explosive, you can invest in getting some tape. You can invest in getting some chalk. Those things are going to make the movement more stable. And when I say more stable, I don't mean like make the balance better. I mean, you're going to have a more solid grip. And when your body is able to hang on to things easier, then it allows you to produce more force. If you've ever tried jumping on ice or jumping on sand, you're not able to jump as high because of the fact that it's a less stable surface and your body is limiting how much force you can produce. It's limiting how strong you are to prevent you from getting hurt. That's weighted pull-ups. Another thing, if you want to make it even more specific, don't arch your back as much. A lot of guys, to get like the hypertrophy benefits or whatever, you might even be able to see it from the front. They'll come, they'll arch their back super hard, pull up, and then control it on the way down. And then they'll let their head go down, pull up, control it on the way down. That's not what we're going for. We're going for being explosive, and we're going for being specific to the movement that we want to learn. If you want to train hypertrophy, that's cool, but you're not going to get the same result. How I would structure this is there's a ton of methods. One of the ones that isn't as good as for beginners, but if you're already a little bit strong, doing a 5x5 where you do nonstop reps. So you would grab the bar, do 5 sets of 5, and you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doing those nonstop reps are going to make you more explosive. The first 2 to 3 sets shouldn't slow down at all. It should be a weight that's very easy for you. But doing the weighted after doing the high pull-ups, for example, or doing the diagonal pull-ups, it's going to make you super explosive, and this is going to be really effective. This is only good for intermediates though. So if you're someone who's a beginner, don't do a 5x5. Just work standard hypertrophy and strength rep ranges, anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of 3 to 10 reps. What I would recommend to start is doing 3 sets of 6 to 8 or 8 to 10, depending on how many body weight pull-ups you can do. Again, I wouldn't recommend starting weighted before you can do at least 15 body weight pull-ups, because you need your tendons to adapt more before you start piling on weight. But how you would structure this in a given workout, do 3-4 sets of 1 or 2 for your high pull-ups, and then you go straight into your closer grip, not super close grip like this, but closer grip, weighted pull-ups for anywhere between 3 and 5 sets, 5 and 10 reps. Make sure you rest also 5 minutes between sets, because that's going to allow you to be as strong as possible and as explosive as possible, because you give your nervous system time to rest and recover. All right, so third and final exercise. Once you get to a good level in your high pull-ups / diagonal pull-ups, once you get into a good level with your weighted pull-ups, my opinion, 30% of your body weight added. So if you weigh 100 kilos, that'll be 30 kilos for at least 8 reps. Again, you should get to that level at least, maybe a little bit past that level, just to build a general base of strength. You don't have to prioritize it after that point, but getting to at least that level of strength is going to be very beneficial for you. One of my coaching clients, Whale, he got to 25 kilo weighted pull-ups for 7 reps. That's, again, 1 rep under the marker that we had. We started training muscle-ups because he was ready for it. The pull-ups were easy. He could have did 1 rep if he wanted to. He just didn't train as hard as he was supposed to. If he's watching this, and stop being a little girl. I'm joking, awesome guy. He learned how to do his first 2-3 muscle-ups in a row over the course of multiple sets, literally in 2 sessions. Because the thing is, once you do this, once you get to a decent strength base, the technique is all that you're focused on. You don't have to worry about, am I strong enough? Am I explosive enough? You're just focused on the technique. How the attempts are going to look for you is you're going to stand, you're going to jump up, grab the bar, and most times the reps are going to be dirty. For me personally, when I first started training, I was able to do like 3-4 muscle-ups in a row, but the reps look like this. I'll show you. I was able to do them like that, which isn't impressive, but that's how they're going to look in the beginning because you're learning the technique. Each session, you're going to do 2 reps, anywhere from 4 to 8 sets. I wouldn't go past 2 reps for a long time, up until you're very satisfied with how the form looks and it's pretty much perfect. But each session, you're going to try and make the form more difficult for yourself. And what I mean is, you're going to use less kimp. You're going to try and pull higher. You're going to try and make your wrist position better. The biggest tip I can give you for just starting out, again, you're thinking of it as a throw for the muscle up, but also think of it as like a tricep extension. It's not you're coming here into a bar dip. It's you're pulling, keeping your elbows tucked in, and then you're doing like a 1/2 rep tricep extension on the way up. That's a piece of advice I heard from Super Clarkson. If you want to look him up on YouTube, he's the, I think, Irish guy who has the slogan, "Make calisthenics great again." Very, very good channel. Watch that as well. But if you use that cue, and if you're decent at weighted pull-ups, and if you have a decent level in high pull-ups, if you do all these things, once you start doing attempts, you can do the exact same workout structure I gave you before. I literally wrote it out for you. You can do the exact same workout structure I gave you before and just replace it with muscle-up attempts. And then once the muscle-ups are easy, once you consistently get over, because sometimes you're going to try and grab the bar, and then it's going to look like this. And then you're not going to be able to get over. That's cool. That's completely fine. Your goal is to just try and learn the technique. And you know at this point, if you're able to do 30% of your body weight for 8 reps on pull-ups, and you're able to do high pull-ups to where at least your nipples are over, maybe like the top of your ab line, you're going to be able to do it, no problem. It's going to be very easy for you. You just have to learn the technique. And as you progress, you're going to do less and less kimp. So your first session is probably going to look, your first muscle up is probably going to look something like this. It's going to look something like that, maybe a little bit more leg flare. Your goal, and I'm way too tired, way too out of breath, and way too sweaty, and it's also technically a push day for me. I'm not even supposed to be doing all this work. I thought it'd be a little bit easier, which it is easy, but got to be humble for the camera. Your goal should be, when you jump up and you pull, I pulled to my hips. I haven't done the dip part yet. That's a no dip muscle up. I pulled to my hips. If I would have finished out the dip, I would have finished the rep, but then I would have gotten to the rhythm of doing multiple, and I only wanted to do one. And also, my legs were straight the entire time. They were straight up and down. I don't know if you can see that. but they were straight up and down. They didn't go forward a ton. They didn't go back at all. They didn't bend. You're flexing your glutes, you're flexing your quads, and you're flexing a little bit of your lower back on the way down so you can get that dead stop look. And then you're going to pull up by crunching your abs and then pulling over. But again, it's not a pull into a dip, it's throw. All you're doing. If you enjoyed that video, I urge you to subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 before I release my calisthenics school, where I'm going to be giving tons of autistic information on how to train and how to program and all that kind of stuff. Also, if you're interested in getting coached by me, I only coach people inside the community. So if that's something that you do want, then you have to be inside the community for it to work. Subscribe, join the link in my channel description. I'll see you next time.